Hey there, welcome back to Homeschool Moms in Business. Today we're going to dive into something so many of us wrestle with, and that's balancing homeschooling and running a business. I mean, it's a lot, right? Teaching our kids, keeping up with the house, and trying to carve out time for our work, it can feel like so much is piling up and there's hardly any space left for ourselves or our business. But if there's one thing that I've learned in my 7+ years of homeschooling, it's this. It's all about understanding your seasons and adjusting your expectations to match them. So today I want to share some mindset shifts and practical strategies that have really helped me stay grounded and keep my priorities in check, and then find time for both family and business. So, you ready? Let's dive in. You are listening to Homeschool Moms in Business, where I help homeschooling moms gain clarity and create effective, systemized business plans around their creative passions, empowering them to confidently launch and grow their businesses while only working 10 hours or less a week. I'm Samantha Welch, a homeschool mom and creative business coach who turned my photography passion into a thriving business, all while keeping my schedule manageable and family-centered, and I'm here to help you do the same. Alright, so let's talk about seasons. I don't know if you've spent a lot of time thinking about seasons, but it's one of the most freeing mindset shifts that I have made as a homeschooling mama. And I'm not talking about the winter, spring, fall seasons, of course. I mean, recognizing that there are times in life where certain things get more attention, and that's okay. So in those early years of homeschooling, like when you're teaching kindergarten, you're right there, hands-on, you're guiding them through all the basics, you're teaching them to read, you're teaching them how to follow instructions, you're building that independence. But as they get older, then they start doing more on their own, and that gives us as moms a little bit more breathing room to focus on our business, even if it's just in small chunks. But here's the thing, remember why you chose to homeschool in the first place. For most of us, it was about giving our kids a personalized learning experience, being there as they grow, and not just missing out on those years. When I think about that why in homeschooling, it helps me to let go of the pressure of I've got to do it all with my business right this second. Because my kids are only young once, so if the business has to grow a little slower to make room for them, then that's totally worth it. So take a moment and ask yourself, what season are you in right now? Do you have littles? Are your kids a little more independent? Do you have teenagers? Is this the time where you have a little bit more flexibility to focus on your business? Or do you need to reprioritize and put homeschooling and family at center stage? Give yourself some grace, though. The time for business growth will come around, and when it does, you'll know. So let's talk structuring your day. Even if you're in a good season of business, I have found it to be so helpful to have a daily structure. Not a strict minute-by-minute schedule, because that's not realistic when you have kids home with you all day, and when you don't have kids in general. But a sense of how the day will flow. So a basic rhythm, a basic schedule of this is basically how the day goes. As my kids have gotten older, I've found that I can do certain business tasks while they're schooling. For instance, I keep my laptop nearby and use that time for more mindless tasks. So checking email, answering clients, organizing my calendar, reviewing photo edits, things that don't require my full attention that I can kind of bounce back and forth with. So most of the time that includes things that I have done enough to where I don't have to do a lot of thinking about it. So this way I'm available if they need help, but I'm still making progress in my business. So try creating a daily schedule that kind of weaves together your business and homeschooling. And it's going to take some trial and error, and that's okay. You'll eventually find the rhythm that works. And if you're still ironing out kinks, don't be hard on yourself. It's all part of the process. These things don't happen overnight. It's literally taken me years to figure out how to balance it all. So one of my biggest goals with homeschooling and life in general is teaching my kids to be independent learners. Not only does this make them more capable, but it also frees me up to focus on business and to keep up with daily life. If I'm constantly having to be over my kids and walking them every step of the way, I'll never get anything else done except homeschooling. When they're young, I work on helping them find answers on their own. If they ask, like, for example, how to spell a word, then I'll encourage them to go to the dictionary and I'll help them find the word. And then if they're stuck on something, a lot of times all you got to ask is, did you read the instructions? And they'll probably say no. And if they say yes, then tell them to read the instructions again. Anyway, little by little, my kids have learned to work through things without needing me every step of the way, and that's been super freeing for me, but also for them, because currently I'm homeschooling my 3 and my niece, so I have 4 kids in my homeschool class, you might say, and so if they're all constantly needing my attention, I would never get anything done except homeschooling. So if you haven't started working on this yet, or thought about teaching your kids to be more independent in their learning, I really encourage you to give it a try. Teaching them these skills now will give them the confidence anyway to tackle things on their own. And that's kind of like my goal in life, is that my kids will leave me and not really need me. They'll launch well and they'll be able to be functioning adults that can figure things out by themselves. And so not only that, but it will give you a little space to breathe and work. So let's talk about something else that also helps when it comes to balancing the act of homeschooling, and business, and that's utilizing your mornings. I know everyone's a little bit different, but for me, mornings are absolutely gold. I get up, I go through my morning routine, and I have a pretty strict morning routine. And then I dive into usually one of my big projects in my business before my kids wake up. Or if they do wake up, they have a set routine for themselves. And so I still usually have just a little bit more time. And this works because my kids are a little bit older. And so I do have that flexibility. But knocking out something significant in the early morning and first thing in the morning really sets such a good tone for the rest of the day, and it makes me feel like I've already accomplished something, and so it kind of puts me on this roll where I'm like, okay, well, if I got that done, then I can get this done, and then I can get this done, and so it just really helps. But if mornings aren't your thing, that's okay. Maybe you're more productive after the kids are in bed at night. Or you find your sweet spot mid-morning and homeschool in the afternoon. One of the amazing things about homeschooling is that we do have some flexibility here, and you can experiment and see with what works best for you and your family. Okay. Oh my goodness. So I don't know about you guys, but one of the big things that will get my butt moving is prioritizing my calendar and actually setting deadlines. So for me, having a strict calendar with deadlines is actually quite a bit of a lifesaver. Instead of always having to figure out what's next, what do I need to do, what has to be delivered, I can just literally follow my calendar and know exactly what I'm supposed to be working on because that's what's going to be due. So having those deadlines keeps me accountable and organized, which is especially helpful when balancing multiple roles. I actually use ChatGPT to help me plan my week, which has been pretty fun and amazing. So I'll plug in all my business tasks that are due that week, homeschool responsibilities, any sort of activities we've got, any appointments or other commitments that I have, things I need to get done within my home. And then I will simply ask ChatGPT to organize it into a realistic schedule for me. And I will tell it that this is how much time I have in the day to work. This is what hours I have. And it will spit out the most amazing schedule. I'm telling you what, you've got to try this. This is so awesome. it is huge in helping me keep my week productive and without getting overwhelmed, because I just look and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do based on like what I already told ChatGPT. Like, here are the deadlines, here's what's got to be done, and then I can look and be like, okay, I got to get this done today. And then that really helps me. And I also like gamify it a little bit. So I'll be like, okay, this is what's on the schedule, but can I actually get more than ChatGPT thinks I can get done in a day? And to my amazement, I actually beat my schedule all the time, and it's made it really super fun for me. So I really do encourage you to get your calendar set up to like add deadlines to business tasks. Literally just be like, okay, this is due. I mean, I don't even care if it's actually due or whatever. Like with me and my photography business, obviously things are due. Like I want to deliver sessions, I want to do that. But if you're just like building your business from scratch, but you don't have the pressure of deadlines, I just encourage you to actually do deadlines, because it will really help you in organizing and keeping things moving, and it can really simplify like what you need to get done so that you actually meet your goals. So with talking about goals and keeping that in mind, like I really want to encourage you to embrace the 80-20 rule. And that rule, it basically says that 80% of your results comes from 20% of your efforts. So by focusing on those really high impact tasks, like tasks that will actually really move your business forward, it can really make the most of your limited work hours. And then and really embrace that mindset that I don't need to do everything, I just need to do the right things. So for example, like in my photography business, things like delivering galleries on time, staying in touch with clients, those things are actually super important to move the needle forward. Sure, I would love to be regular at posting on social media, and I would love to update my website, and I would love to play around with other different things, but will that actually move my business forward? It won't, because what drives my business are my clients. So if my clients get their galleries on time, then they're more likely to recommend me. And if I stay in touch with my clients and let them know what's going on and they feel seen and heard, that's also going to get me recommended, which is going to bring me more clientele, which is going to grow my business. So it's just really focusing in on those high impact tasks, those things that actually move your business forward, and not wasting time on all the little things. Now, the little things are important, but those things we'll just have to make time for at a later time. When you have limited time, you really have to focus on the things that are actually making an impact. Or if you like focus on them once things that make an impact and then you grow your business, you might be able to hire out some of the small tasks. So go ahead and think about your business. Think about what you're doing and just write down what are the top things, like the top things that actually grow your business. And then create your task list for the week around that. Don't worry about the other stuff. Don't focus in on the small things. Eliminate all the distractions and just really focus in on the top 20%, those top tasks that actually will move the needle forward. And I really feel like that you'll actually see that the rest of the stuff will start falling into place. So I hope that this episode has been really helpful for you, and I was just really excited to share all of this with you because it has taken me a lot of years to figure this out. And so if I can help just one homeschool mama to avoid the overwhelm and to really be able to feel good about both their homeschooling and also their business, then that would just mean everything to me. So I'd love to hear from you. You know, if you're struggling to balance homeschool with business, what are your struggles? What's a challenge that you're facing? Reach out to me. I'll have my information in the show description. And yeah, just reach out and let me know. And I'd be happy to chat back and forth and maybe be able to share some tips that helped me with the whole process. So until next time, remember that it's those small daily steps that create the big impact. I hope you walked away from this episode inspired to go and implement these things into your life and business. Remember to head to the show notes to get any links, guides, or discounts that were mentioned. And while you're there, leave me a 5-star review. Your feedback is the only way that I know you're enjoying and finding this podcast helpful. Until next episode, remember, it's those small daily steps that build big dreams.